Tracy, what do you have for this week?
Well, we are going to talk about the conversation that comes up a lot, Tigo, whether somebody wanting to sell their home wants convenience, max price. What are the options when it comes to choosing how you want to sell your house?
Perfect. Good morning and welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk. This is show 435, Tracy.
That's a lot of shows, Tigo.
A lot of half hours talking about real estate. You know, it's great though. We always talk about this. It keeps us up to speed on what's going in the real estate market. And so
for sure,
a lot of news this week on real estate. So we're going to talk about that. A lot of questions about the real estate market. It's been very interesting. So I've got some good data there as always. And Tracy, what do you have for this week?
Well, we are going to talk about the conversation that comes up a lot, Tigo, whether somebody wanting to sell their home wants convenience, max price. What are the options when it comes to choosing how you want to sell your house?
Perfect. Let's start with some market update. So,
great idea.
Of course, just weekly update. The thing is this real estate market has been changing pretty quickly. We went from this, crazy market last year at the beginning of the year up through, let's say, May, June, July, and then things really started to, pull back a little bit. We had interest rates that went up a lot. That had a lot to do with it, of course, were the interest rates. And now we're in this market where we peaked out, like I said, in May on home prices. Home sales, the number of home sales have been declining through the year. And now we're in February, going into the selling season, coming up soon. And the big question is like, okay, is the market going to crash, right? That's kind of the generic question, right?
I thought the question was, is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market?
Well, and I think that's
I think it's both, honestly.
Yeah,
but
and I agree with you, Tracy. That is true. And I'm going to pull up this chart here. So if you're on, you're seeing this on video, I pulled up the chart so people can see it. But we get this weekly report that tells us what's going on with the active inventory, basically homes for sale, the homes that are actually on the market, and what's going on with prices for those homes. In this week or over the last few weeks, Tracy, I've seen this trend of the list price for homes is starting to go back up.
Right.
From May until just a few weeks ago, home prices did come down a little bit. It wasn't a huge move, not like some other markets around the country, but home prices definitely pulled back or, flat, whatever you want to call it. But now we've seen this shift where home sellers are feeling confident about the market.
Well, and we are seeing a lot of buyers out looking for houses. So, we have seen feels sort of fast and furious all of a sudden.
Yeah, it is. So the home prices, list prices are up. The number of people reducing the price on their home is down. Still about 30%, 35% of homes on the market have taken a price reduction. It sounds like a lot, but that actually isn't. That's kind of normal, actually. And we're starting to see homes sell really fast again.
So what is that chart saying then?
What do you mean?
The chart.
Oh, the one I have pulled up. Well, that's the summary that shows median list price, what the median price per square foot, which is a better measure of actual appreciation, depreciation. Side note, we had the opportunity to meet Dr. Lawrence Hune, who is the chief economist with the National Association of Realtors. He was actually here in Albuquerque
last week.
Was it last week? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And he, talked about the market. Obviously, he was mainly talking about the national real estate market, obviously, because that's his perspective. But I kind of cornered him. I was like going, okay, I got the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors here, in Albuquerque. And it's like, okay, I got to ask him one question. And I asked him, I said, when you're looking at pricing, we always seem to have this median price go up in early summer, and then the median price kind of pulls back a little bit through winter. I said, what's up with that? Why does that happen every year? He goes, it's families, right?
Right.
he told, so
he said it's all about families. It's all about the school's calendar for sure.
Yeah. And then the other thing I asked him about, actually that was in his main presentation, but what I asked him about was price per square foot versus median price, right?
Right.
And price per square foot, which I've always said is a much better measure of, appreciation, depreciation, right? And he said, absolutely, price per square foot is a way better measure. And so we've had a big move in median price. We haven't had a big move in price per square foot from the high to a little bit lower right now.
Right. Which was interesting because we, talked with him before the event began in the lobby for a while. And then during the lunch, you went and sat at his table since there was a spot right next to him, right? And chatted for a while. But after the event, it was interesting how many people were saying, well, Tigo, all he did was say everything you've been saying for a long time on the radio and on all of your podcasts and all of your presentations.
Well, thanks for saying that.
He mirrored what you say.
Yeah,
that was
a
fun.
few people text me during this presentation and were like, these are realtors, like the 400, real estate agents and mortgage people were there. And they were texting me going, oh yeah, I already knew that. You told us that.
The people who listen to you and follow you, they already knew his presentation. It's almost like you could have prepared it for him. I know you didn't, but when he went local, I mean, it was very much what we've been talking about.
It makes me feel good because when I go to realtor events and stuff, a lot of people will come up to me and say, we really appreciate all the market data you put out there, and you just do it because you like to do it. And it's like, yeah, I do.
And you're good at it.
Well, it's my thing. Anyway, mortgage rates. So I did want to talk about, because mortgage rates, again, if you're on video, you can see it. I pulled up the chart here from Mortgage News Daily. Mortgage rates went back up in the last 7-10 days. Just the inflation numbers, a lot of people know, did not come in. It was a little bit higher than expectations, very little. But when, if there's concerns about inflation staying high, mortgage rates are going to stay higher. And so we got down to right around 6% on the, just the average for mortgages. Now we're back, 6.8.
So interesting, Tigo, because yesterday I got a letter that was going along with our buyer's offer. Mm-hmm. And yesterday it was quoted and their rate was 6%.
Interesting.
So I kept looking at that letter. It was a great local lender that the letter was written from and dated for yesterday. So,
I wonder, Tracy, I've been hearing that, and we've talked to, lenders that we work. There's a lot of different programs out there now trying to address this high mortgage rate.
Affordability,
adjustable rate mortgages. And just a side note on that, those aren't the adjustable rate mortgages of 2005, 6, and 7, just so people know it's very, very different. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different options out there for folks.
There really are.
Home builders are doing a lot to help.
They are
take care of
buying down interest rates, or
right.
Having creative programs to help the rate be lower, maybe for your first year or two.
Just one more thing on the market here in Albuquerque. Something I picked up on this week is that the number of homes on the market in Albuquerque right now is like 1,100 homes, give or take, just depending on how you measure it, but somewhere around 1,100 homes at any given time this week. Very low number. I mean, that really is a low number. That's about half of what we had at the same time at the beginning of 2020, right? So it's a really, really low number. The thing that's interesting, though, the mix is there's a lot of new construction in there. And the number that I pulled out was somewhere around 25% of all the homes on the market are new construction. And the thing that's interesting about that is, if they're listed in our MLS as for sale as new construction, that doesn't mean they're finished necessarily. Some of them are, but a good portion of those are not. So the number of resale homes on the market is pretty low.
Yeah.
Really low. And so I think that's why we're seeing prices get pushed back up again. And it's why we're seeing bidding wars again, right, Tracy?
Right. We sure are. Yeah.
I've heard lots of stories this week.
Yeah. A lot of them have had multiple offers.
Yeah.
And above list price.
I don't know. Do we like that term bidding war, or should we call it something else? Multiple offers.
Multiple offers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selling over list. Yeah. Yeah. So good homes, homes that are, in popular locations that are,
Price for the market,
price
for the
market.
condition,
Yep.
for the location.
Yeah.
Are still very desirable, and many people waiting for those houses. And we're in February, right? Mid-February.
Yeah.
Usually we see things really heat up in March, so we're ahead.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. Normally this time of year we see the number of homes continue to decline into March before we get that surge of people putting their homes on the market. So it'll be an interesting thing to watch. Sorry, I'm getting really wonky on this, but this is the stuff I look at all the time because, real estate affects our local economy a lot.
Right.
And, the number of homes selling in our market is going to be pretty low number this year compared to, we're probably going to have to go back to 2014, 2015 is probably where we'll be. So,
yeah.
Okay. So Tracy, first off, let's just tell everybody it's
Tigo and Tracy.
Yep. With
Venturi Realty Group.
Yep.
Of Keller Williams Realty.
Yep. And they can reach us at
448-8888 in the 505, of course. So Tigo, topic.
Yes, Tracy.
Yeah. Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Sellers may prefer to sell their house for convenience reasons versus netting the most profit, perhaps, or the most money.
That was very cryptic. What do you mean by that?
Prefer convenience over maximum price, or vice versa. So what I mean is we have seen there are lots of ways to sell your home if you're thinking of selling your home. There are the places that are called iBuyers. An iBuyer is an institutional buyer. They have a computerized program generally.
When you say institutional, it sounds weird.
It's a company.
A corporate.
A corporate.
Corporate buyer.
Corporate buyer.
Okay.
So we have corporate buyers that put the property in their database, in their computer.
Their algorithm.
It spits out a range of what they might buy that house for.
Yep.
And there's several of those out there, and they have varying, when you look at their testimonials and their reviews online, they have the very varied response from how clients have felt about working with them. Mostly good, and everybody's got that occasional not great experience out there, but most of them are rated really well because it took care of somebody's need.
Or somebody gives you a bad testimonial and it wasn't even you that served them.
That's hurtful. Yeah.
Sorry, that's a side note, something that happened to us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
where they confused us with a different office. So there's also flippers, right?
Yeah.
People who are looking for a house that needs work, that if they put the sweat equity, the money, the upgrades into the property, they can sell it for a higher price and make a profit.
Okay.
And there's
so let's just go a little deeper on that. So you've got these institutional buyers, the iBuyers. In their model, you could say they're flippers, but really what they're doing is they're buying it, they're maybe doing a little bit of fix up, and they're immediately reselling it more or less.
Right. They're just buying it and reselling it.
Flippers, I guess it's kind of the same. I mean, I think of flippers differently because I think of them as more like a
big remodel is
a
what
local, maybe a smaller operator, not a large institutional buyer.
Right. And a lot of times, so I was going to get into it a little bit, but I think you're right that they're usually more local people.
Yeah.
They might buy a house that needs more work than an institutional or a corporate buyer, where they want to do light stuff, some paint, some yard cleanup, a few little things. But I think the flippers per se are looking for something that's more distressed. I
would say that's a good, more distress, basically more skin on the bone or more meat on the bone from a profit standpoint. I know that's a bad analogy.
And then we have wholesalers. So wholesalers is, sort of another category, right? People who are looking for people that really need to sell, and maybe they, as the wholesaler, are really a middleman. They put the house under contract to buy, and they have another person who actually will end up buying the house, and they get paid for the convenience of connecting the two, is kind of how I would put that wholesaler in context.
And that's a lot of times we'll see that where people will maybe text you or They'll call, cold calling, saying, "Hey, are you interested in selling?" Some of those are wholesalers, some of those are just investors looking for rental properties. Just depends. And sometimes it's a mailer, something you get in the mail that says, we're looking to buy houses in your area. Yeah.
So we're talking about typically cash offers, but there's different categories of cash offers. So I wanted to go into today the iBuyer, really more in depth on an iBuyer, and we'll save some of those other categories for other shows.
Sure.
So an iBuyer is typically, like you said, a corporation, probably not in area, but probably has representation, someone in our real estate board that's licensed to help represent them as a buyer, right? And they have an algorithm that, somebody wants to sell their house. They want to pick the date they want to close. They need it for the convenience of it. And they know that it's like when we go to a car dealer and we say, I'm going to trade in my car.
It's the CarMax example.
So I know if I trade my car in to buy a new car that I'm taking less for my car for the convenience of not having to take it and park it by the side of the road every day and take all those phone calls or pay to be on one of those national sites where you can sell your car and the buyers come to you and you facilitate it. There are a lot of people who they want the hands off of the CarMax model, right? They don't want to know who bought their car in case it breaks down next week. They don't want to sell it to their neighbor's child because if that car breaks down, they feel bad, even though they didn't have any problems with it, right?
Yeah.
Same with
and it's a convenience. You're paying for convenience, right? So the CarMax model, I think we all kind of get that, right? You bring your car in, they'll give you a cash offer for it. You're done with it. You don't have to market it. Like you said, you don't have to buy
another house from them, another car from them. Another car from them.
Right.
Like when you take it in old school, you'd take it to a dealership that they would take it on trade because you were buying a car from them. These days we see that they'll buy it anyway.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy a car from them, but you have the convenience of it.
And let's be clear, this type of buyer model, there's a handful of companies, Knock, Open Door, OfferPad. Zillow was doing it, they got out of that business. Redfin was doing it, they got out of that business. So there's, it's pretty common around the country, but it has not been very big here in Albuquerque.
Right. So it's just from our experience with these iBuyers, as you see in the news, they call them the iBuyers, institutional. They vary a lot on what their offer might be like, but in my opinion, when we compare it to the other type of cash buyers, not somebody coming with cash because they just sold their house and they're going to pay cash for a house. We're talking about people who regularly buy cash, right? They're trying to find a good deal. That the iBuyers tend to be a better price offered for the home.
Well, let me say it this way without offending anybody. I don't know if I can do that. We'll try. So I'm sure people have seen the seminars that come through town that say, quit your job and flip houses, make a living flipping houses using other people's money, right?
With no money out of your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Of your own.
Right. So those business models are out there and they're very popular and there's a lot of them. And one of the things, and this is one of those little dirty little kind of secrets, is first off, most of the people that do that are not licensed realtors. They're just independent people. There's no licensing required. They're just going out making offers.
They're not bound by the realtor code of ethics.
There's a saying in that world that says you make your money when you buy it, not when you sell it. So their model is to buy it right, and get the very best deal. And so, if you're thinking about a cash offer, if you're thinking of selling your property and you're thinking about a cash offer, shop it around.
Right. Yeah, that's really why we brought this topic up. Yeah. So we're kind of getting to the punchline way at the end here. And the punchline is, maybe you don't want to take that first cash offer that comes your way, somebody that reaches out or an institution that reaches out. We can get you multiple of that type of convenient offers because we have about 7 different ways we can get you a cash offer for your house.
Okay. So I think we've kind of beat that up enough for now. I think the point is, if you are thinking of selling and you're thinking of going down that road, give us a shout, because we can show you everything. Our job is to consult you and figure out what's best for you. Of course, I'm going to say, of course, is there. I want to say traditional, but the MLS, right? Where basically where
we spread the word to the most people.
Exactly. Right. The MLS system, the multiple listing service, is an amazing. I'm a little biased on that since I'm the president of the MLS board here in Albuquerque, but the MLS system is pretty amazing. You have your property and it goes into this system that now is broadcast to the 4,400 realtors in Albuquerque, as well as 800 different websites. Right now, just putting it there isn't enough. There's also the marketing piece, right? There's the content, there's the great photos, the description of the property, all the marketing pieces that we put together, virtual tours that we put together, all that stuff. That is going to get the property broadcast to the broadest audience, right?
Right. And typically net you the most.
And there's a lot of strategies. But typically. There's a lot of strategies that we use to, create a lot of energy about the home and scarcity. And, there's all that stuff from like Cialdini influence, right? That you use, the marketing tricks that people know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so that's, so there's different ways to go, right?
Right. Totally. So we really spent a lot of our time today talking about this whole process, but I think it's really interesting because, a lot of times when you're driving down the road, you see something, pounded on the telephone pole or those little signs on the side of the road. We buy houses and things. And so I think it's good to kind of educate our listeners about the different types of buyers that might want to buy your house, not through the traditional method.
Yeah. And again, there is a place for that. There's that one company, Open Door. They buy and sell 5,000 homes a year nationwide.
A month. 5,000 a month.
I said a year, didn't I? Yeah, a month. It is a business model, and it is a service that works for a lot of people.
Right.
They're willing to basically pay, meaning a lower price, the convenience of having a secure close date, not having inspections necessarily, or maybe light inspections, not having to do repairs. It just there's so much. You get to pick your close date, all of that.
Since we have a minute or two left, let me.
We have more than a minute or two.
Some of the reasons why people really choose these faster or easier cash offers. Estates.
Okay.
Divorce.
Yeah.
Moving and being relocated, without the time to really prep your home for sale. Maybe having a lot of children or somebody that you're caring for in the home that you don't really want those showings. Maybe it's several pets and you don't want someone to let your cats out. Or it's just difficult to make your house show ready.
You don't want to show it.
You don't want anyone to show
open
it.
Houses.
Yeah. There are lots of reasons why this works for many people. So,
and we can help people with it.
That's right.
We can. And again, we're the Venturi Group with Keller Williams Realty. You can reach us at 505-448-8888. Okay. Around the news, couple things that jumped out this week at me, Tracy. There is a lot of stuff going on affordable housing in Albuquerque. I think most people know, I hope everybody knows, we've got some affordable housing challenges. It's not just Albuquerque, it is nationwide. It is everywhere, right? We're actually better than many areas around the country. But the city of Albuquerque is doing some stuff. They just negotiated a deal to buy a hotel, and they're going to convert it into housing units, affordable housing units. There's a lot of, we're in the 60-day legislature session right now in Santa Fe. There's a lot of stuff going on there related to affordable housing. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's also a few things going on in Santa Fe that are bad ideas. One of them I saw, okay, in my opinion, bad idea. It sounds great, right? They want to add, make every home required to have the electrical hookup for solar systems, the electrical hookup for vehicle charging at the house and make that a requirement for every new home that's built. I get it, but we have a
affordability problem.
We have a cost of housing issue already, and now adding another requirement that, I don't know, just out of the air, I'd say that's probably another $5,000 on the cost of a home. And we, it sounds great, but when you back up and say, hold on, we can't keep adding more and more and more costs to homes because it's challenging. I mean, we know this, Tracy, in the Albuquerque area right now, there's a handful, but not very many of new construction homes that are under $300,000.
Very few in the metro area. I can think of a few in Las Lunas right now.
Mm-hmm.
In Albuquerque, maybe, but
how about at the Hawk site or the Mountain Hawk out in Rio Rancho? I don't even know.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So yeah, so under, I mean, new construction, the builders would like to build more. They just don't have, it
takes time.
They'd like to build affordable housing. They just can't. I mean, everything's more expensive. And so it's a challenge. So just something to think about. The affordable housing issue is an issue, and it doesn't appear that there's any great solutions. Tracy, do you got a couple homes that you wanted to, or new listings or new properties we have that you wanted to talk
sure.
about? I'm really putting you on the spot
quick.
here.
So we have one in Santa Fe that's a condo right across from the National Cemetery. So it's on the north edge of town, kind of on your way to Los Alamos and Espanola.
Yeah.
300,000, a really nice 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just put 10 different parcels of land for sale in Los Chavez, which is at the south side of Las Lunas. Beautiful. It has ditch irrigation. It's 34 acres altogether, but different parcels of 2 to 4 acres. Nice. Sold individually or together. So that's really nice. We also have that home in Las Lunas on Dennis Drive. It's $399,900. It's a very modern, beautiful home
cool
with
house.
a swimming pool.
Yeah.
So that one's available. And then a couple others that, just give us a call or get online at welcomehomeabq.com and check them out. We obviously put out there every house on the market, not just the ones that we represent, but we'd be happy to talk to you about any of them. So
I want to just bring up one. I want to go back to the affordable housing thing because it really is a conversation that's being had everywhere right now, is that we just don't have much in the way of affordable housing. And there was a bunch of people I follow on Twitter that do housing stuff. And there's this great thread talking about San Francisco in particular. And San Francisco is kind of like the ground zero of affordable housing issues. Well, they're ground zero.
Of nothing affordable.
Yeah. They're ground zero for a lot of other issues too. But anyway, all these municipalities and cities and city councils and governments trying to do all these little tweaking things and help to help with affordability. But somebody made this comment, and he said, if your housing affordability plan doesn't have a large component removing constraints on new development, it's just self-righteous. It's just self-righteous hobby, is what he said. So, we need help in the zoning side and letting developers and builders just build. And I don't know if we've got the political will to do that, though.
Yep. Well, here we are, the end of our time.
Yeah.
It's always interesting chatting real estate with you, Tigo.
Every week.
We kind of got in pretty deep on cash buyers of homes.
The cash buyer thing. No, I think it's an interesting conversation. I think, people that like just to know what's going on in the world, it's an interesting topic to know that that's a whole different world. The thing that's curious about that cash buyer thing and that whole infrastructure of people willing to buy houses outright, it didn't exist in 2008, 2009, 2010.
Right. So thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Give us a ring if you have something you want to chat about or something you'd like us to cover. We'd be happy to do it, but have a great